So a few years ago, young me had the idea to use a special kind of autocorrect to autocorrect the entire Kanto Pokédex from Pokémon to come up with a really weird and distorted version of the original 151 Pokémon. Today, I decided to go back and do that all over again, but with all 9 regions of Pokémon now. And I have seen other people do this before, where they autocorrect Pokemon names, but the way I did it is kind of special, because I didn't use normal autocorrect. I used the autocorrect function that comes with the notepad in the game Scribblenauts. And if you remember that game, then good for you. Essentially, Scribblenauts is this game where you can type anything in, and then it appears. And that's kind of the entire game. You just type stuff, and then it's there. However, if you misspell something, it corrects you, and if you just type in gibberish, like Pokemon names, it'll try very hard to correct you, and sometimes it'll stretch very far to come up with a word that it thought you said. So, without further ado, in this specific video I'm going to cover Kanto and see what Scribblenauts, specifically Unmasked for the 3DS, could come up with in place of every single Pokemon's name. And I do have to mention, Scribblenauts Unmasked, it's a partnership with DC Comics, so there are a lot of superhero stuff. Anytime that came up, I skipped to the next option because I tried not to let any of that superhero or DC stuff in. I wanted it to be all actual words and things. Anyway, let's begin with everyone's favorite grass-type starter, Blaster, who evolves into Ivy Gourd, and lastly into Venus. And let's not forget everyone's favorite fire-type starter, Character, who evolves into a Chameleon, and lastly into whatever Churadar is. Next up, we have Squire, who evolves into Warhorse, and lastly into Basilisk. Then we have Kalepin. Okay, I think the game has other languages or something installed into its auto-correcting feature, because some of these words I've literally never seen before, and as far as I remember, 50% of these words, when I actually clicked on it, I didn't know what it was, it just came up as a bird. So apparently everything's just a bird. I don't know how many different words there are for birds, but yeah. Anyway, then you have Megapode, which finally evolves into Butterbretzel. That has to be another language. I think that's German or something. I don't know why that's there. Anyway, then you have Wedge, who evolves into Kahina, and lastly, Bee-Tail. Then, of course, Pied, Pigeon, and Pigeon again. Rat-Tail and Ratite, which is another bird. There's probably been 10 birds already. Then, of course, Sea Cow, Pharaoh, and everyone's favorite snakes, Ears and Abbott. I really don't know what I was trying to do with Abbott. It came up as a dude. I don't know who Abbott is. I'll have to look that up and put it in, but yeah, Abbott. Then Peach, Ranch, Sandshoe and Sandglass, Nikumon, and Nicotine. Lastly, Napoleon, and then of course, Neutrino and Nicotine again. We love Nicotine. Then of course you have Cable Fairy, who evolves into just Cable. Then you've got Vadai, don't know what that means, but whatever. Nineball, I don't even want to say this word. Wagner Tuba, or Wagner Tuba, that's an interesting one. Whatever Zahato means. Then of course Goat and Oarfish. Honestly, I'm saying some of these as if they're the evolutions of each other, but I don't actually have written down what each of these actually were. So I think whatever I just said weren't even actually in an evolution line. I think Orphish was Oddish, but I'll fix it somehow. Anyway, Orphish evolves into Groom, and lastly into Vellum. Then you've got Pads, Parakeet, Vena, Venom, Digger, Dogtail, Moth, and Persian. Look at that. It's almost like a lot of Pokemon names are literally just words and don't need to be corrected. Then you've got Produce and Geoduck, and everyone's favorite Monkey, and everyone's favorite Primate. Then you have Growth, which evolves into Aconite. Then, of course, Poliwag, Polo Shirt, and Polygrath. Then, the greatest psychic types ever made, Abacadabra Abba. Then we've got Mache, also Mache, and Macaw. Then Bellboot, Weebill, and Victrola. Then, of course, Tentacle, which evolves into Tentacle. Geode, Gravel, Golem, that's another one that is literally just a word. I think Kanto probably has the most amount of Pokemon that are just words. So yeah. Anyway, then you've got Pinata and Rapids. Then Slope and Shower. Maghemite and Magnet. Farfell. And then, of course, Dodo, which evolves into Dodo. Then Seal and Dugong, because those are also literally just words. And I guess that kind of goes to show this autocorrect works properly, because it spelled them properly, because their normal names are not. Then you've got Gyre. I don't even know if I spelled that right. Essentially what I did is when I typed this all into the game, I wrote it all down in my horrendous handwriting in a notebook, so it's... Forgive me for not being able to read some of this, unless it's just really some weird words, which I honestly think it was. Gyre, I don't know what that is. Then Mew, not M-E-U, and I'm not talking about Mew the Pokemon, M-U, which is Muck. Then Cellar and Cloyster, except with an I, because I guess they just felt like naming a lot of things words with like one letter changed. Then Gadfly, Hunter, and Gear. Then, of course, we have Oni, and Dory, and Hippo. Then the Crabs, Caber, and Kringler. Then you've got Victor, Electrodes. I don't know why it didn't correct to Electrode, because that is a word. It specifically corrected to Electrodes. Anyway, then you've got Egg Cup and Elevator. Next up, we have Clone, Man-O-War, and then Hitman and also Hitman. Then we've got Lock Ring and Key Ring and Wedding. I pronounced that wrong on purpose. It's wedding. Whatever. Then we've got Ramshorn and Radon and a Chase with an I, whatever that's supposed to mean. If that's even in English, I don't know. Then Tangelo. I don't think that's English either. If this is in English, these are some archaic synonyms that I've never heard before. Anyway, then we've got Kublai Khan. Horse, Sadza, Gold Eye, Sea Fig, Star, Sharpie, Mad. I thought it was supposed to do nouns only, but Mad came up. I don't even remember what popped up when I clicked on Mad. So, Mad, I guess. Then Scythe, Jin, Electrothon, Magma, Pinder, whatever that means, Taurus, Magic Lamp, Guard Dog, Lab Rat, diatom. I'm trying to remember what these even were, because as I said, I didn't write down who each one was. I just wrote down what their dex number is, and I don't have the dex numbers memorized, but yeah. These I do remember, though. We've got the evolutions. Of course, it's Elver, Vapor, Jalebi, and Flagon. I don't know what a single one of those means except for Vapor. Anyway, then we've got Parson, Orange, Omaka, Caber, which came up already, so I don't know how two things corrected to the same thing. Anyway, Kabatiti, Aeronaut, Sayola, Arctic, not Arctic, like the Arctic, but Arctic, which is apparently some niche British slang for, like, a semi-truck. Whoever developed Scribblenauts really went all out to get literally every single word in the normal and urban dictionary, it seems. Very interesting. Anyway, then you've got Xander, which I think was just another stupid bird, then Maltese, then Drain, Dragontail, and Dragonette. And lastly, the two incredible legendaries, or I guess the ones a mythic, from the Kanto region, Metro, and my favorite. That's right, it's me. I am disappointed. I literally just read 151 words like I'm talking to a bunch of kindergartners. Oh wow, look at me go. Anyway, that's all I've got for this. We'll see in the next couple weeks what this goofy game has to say about the other regions in the Pokemon franchise. I have already written most of them out. I have to finish some of the later gens, but this is honestly quite hard to do. It takes a while to type everything in on that game because I'd use the touchscreen on my 3DS, which is genuinely terrible these days. But I'm doing it anyway for fun because why not? And I like making videos, so yeah, if you liked this, thanks for watching, and whatever stuff I'm supposed to say, I don't know, whatever. Thanks.